Hi guys and girls, I'm Karel of the Story Department, and I received an email from Jim asking, what is a logline? Now, I have been talking about loglines for many videos. I've reviewed a few, and you need to know what a logline is before all this makes sense. So let's go back to the absolute basics. I'm going to talk story essentials today. Now, when you want to make a film, you need to write a screenplay. A screenplay varies from, say, 90 to 120 pages, ideally 100 to 110. No one who has any importance in the film industry will read your screenplay until they know that the hour or 2 hours they're going to spend will be well spent. Now, to satisfy that they should take the risk of reading your script, they need to read a shorter document and they'll read a synopsis. But then people who are really busy get a lot of synopses and don't have the time to even read those. Therefore, you need to be able to write a logline and express your entire concept in one sentence. So you must understand that if you're not capable of expressing the core, the heart of your story in one sentence, then you are not able to operate in the film industry, period. That's how it is. You need to be able to communicate the basics in one sentence. And then you go from there. Then you elaborate to a synopsis and so forth. So what is that one sentence? What do we need to have in that one sentence? Well, I've boiled it down to my own formula. And in today's video, I'll explain how you build it. I have a formula for that. I'll tell you what the components are and how you put them together. And then we'll also review two loglines. Now, first of all, the components of a logline, as I understand it, are character, event, and action. So the character is going to be the main character of your film, the point of view character, the center of consciousness, if you wish. The importance for that is that when you're a beginning screenwriter, you're not going to write an ensemble, you're not going to write multi-protagonists, you will have one single character driving that story. And you need to be clear about that character in that one sentence. The next thing we need is an event. Something happens to that character. Something that pushes that character to respond. So there's a change in the life of that character. And I call it an event because it's always something happening to that character. It's never an action by that character because the action is the third part. The action is the response to the event. And the action is what the character does to achieve the goal. So the goal/action is the heart, the second act of the story. So these three elements make up the entire premise or the basic concept, if you wish. So somebody experiences something, some sort of change, and in response to that, pursues a goal and acts to achieve that goal. So those are the essential components. They must be in a logline. If one of these is missing, for me, it'll be a failed logline. Now, there may be other things that are important, such as setting and stakes, but in terms of story, plot, concept, these three need to be there first before you think about anything else. Now, I'll give you an example. This is a version of a logline for the film Jaws. When a great white kills a swimmer, the sheriff of a small coastal town must fight this is wrong. This must be the mayor to close the beach during the 4th of July weekend. So I'll try again now with the correct antagonist. When a great white kills a swimmer, the sheriff of a small coastal town must fight the mayor to close the beach during the 4th of July weekend. So character is the sheriff of a small coastal town. The action is must fight the mayor, and the event is the great white who kills the swimmer. Now here's another version, and this is really the second part of the film, and it's where the most suspense, most action takes place. When a great white kills a swimmer, the sheriff of a small coastal town must overcome his fear of water and go into the ocean to defeat the killing monster. Now I've included this fear of water because a lot of people think Jaws is about that, and that's the problem, the psychological issue that holds the sheriff back. Personally, I don't think that's the case. I think there's a lot more going on, and I'll go into that in a future video. But for now, let's keep it simple and just assume that all these people have it right. So it's a good logline, and it's clear, and it kind of represents what Jaws is about. So we have the event when a great white kills a swimmer. We have the character, the sheriff of a small coastal town, who is afraid of water. he must go into the ocean to defeat the killing monster. That's the action. That's the second act. In fact, it's what happens after the midpoint. So it's the second part of the second act. But you see that these three elements are there: character, event, and action. So you must have those. And then once you send your logline and the logline piques the interest of the reader, they will ask you to send a synopsis that then needs to be consistent with the logline they've read. And then from the synopsis, they may go to reading your screenplay. But nobody will ever read your script unless they already know that you're a great writer, or you can convince them from the pitch or the logline or the synopsis. And you won't pitch until you have a relationship established with that person. So logline is probably more realistic at this particular stage. Let's review a few loglines. This one was sent in by Tim. When a redneck American world champion woodchopper is defeated by the ultimate bogan Australian newcomer, he travels to the land down under to face his nemesis and reclaim the title. At first sight, that's a good logline to me. We have the character, a redneck American world champion woodchopper. So that's very visual. I can see that character. And there's also a little bit of psychology. He's a redneck. The woodchopper is sociology, and in that way you're already introducing a deeper aspect, so that you can really give only three aspects of a character. That's the physiognomy, what they look like, the sociology, what they do, their occupation, their function, and then their psychology, their behavior, which is the most important one. And here Tim has covered two: the sociology, the woodchopper. Redneck may also be sociology, because it's obviously also a social group. And he's a world champion. That's part of the sociology as well. Now, that's character. What's the event? He's defeated by the ultimate bogan Australian newcomer. That's a big event. That's something that had never happened to this character before. And that gets my interest. When that happens in the story, we understand that the story has started. And now we expect the world champion to respond to it. And what is he going to do? What's the action? He travels to the land down under to face his nemesis and reclaim the title. It's a very clear goal. And I would expect that this is going to be a comedy. I hope this would be a comedy. So we can see what happens. We have a clash of cultures. We have a fish out of water. And we have a true competition between the two with a clear anticipated endpoint. So the hero, the American world champion, wants to win. And only when he wins will we know that we are at the end of the film. We're at the resolution after the climax of Act 3. But let's assume that many things will happen on the way that are not so predictable. So that's a good logline. Tim, well done. I'd be interested in reading the synopsis if I were someone who's reading screenplays for financing or production. Then I think this would be a good contender. Next, this was sent in by Danny. A brilliant Russian cadet shortly after his graduation day is being targeted by the CIA. His raison was a personal travel to New York City to change all well-known war tactics with the help of his genius weapons. I'm confused about this one. I'm going to double-check whether this was actually posted like this, because the second half doesn't make much sense to me. I'm going to skip it for now, and we're going to Ericus, a soft-hearted young woman determined to find her birth parents, stumbles on a deadly alien species that may hold the key to her origin. Okay, it's a tight logline, and we're going to analyze it. We're going to take it apart. So the character is a soft-hearted young woman. Young woman is fairly vague, soft-hearted. That could be a character aspect that gets her in trouble, that possibly promises a character journey. In any case, we have a character. Now, what's the event? I don't see an event unless determined to find her birth parents. Maybe she finds out that she is that she was adopted, something like that, and then she wants to find her natural biological parents. Now, she stumbles on a deadly alien species that may hold the key to her origin. Now, that feels like an event. So, if she had always lived with the desire to find her birth parents, then that is part of the opening situation. Now she stumbles on a deadly alien species that may hold the key to her origin. That could be the event. Okay? So now she's going to, I guess, find her origin. But what does that second act look like? So there is no action in this logline. We have the character, we have the event, but there's no action. And you cannot leave so much to the imagination of the reader. This is the key to the story. This is down to what sort of film this is, the genre. And we need to know more specifics. So, what can we imagine after her stumbling on this alien species? And what will she gain when she finds her origin? So there's too many unknowns. I don't know what sort of movie that is. I don't even know whether it would be something I would want to see. So as a logline, it's not particularly tempting. Good. For more loglines, go to logline.it. And I'll just quickly go to the site here. logline.it. And if you go into the menu at the top, our formula, you click on that, it explains how we think about loglines. And this example from Jaws in a slightly different version than the one that we've just discussed today. And then if you click on latest loglines, you'll have tons to go through. And if you read the reviews from our distinguished panel, you will undoubtedly find what the principles are. And then when you're ready, post your own, maybe review to others, and that way you can learn. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this mini logline special. I'll do a longer video in the future, maybe half an hour or an hour, with more examples of successful films or loglines for successful films, and a bit more history about loglines, and also in what situations they may be used and how there are different versions of loglines for each film. If you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to the channel, give us a like for today, and thank you for watching. See you next time.